All right, I'm Nick. So I think we're live. If you guys can hear me, let me know if the audio is good. Obviously, the audio is more important than the video, but let me know how the video looks as well. Forgot to turn off my I messed up. We're back. All right, if it's working now, let me know. I typically turn off my notifications, put do not disturb on, but I messed that up and things did not work. It's okay. It'll be all right. Perfect, loud and clear. Good to go. All right, we're going to let everybody get in, give it a minute or two. And once we got some people in here, you guys start asking those questions, and we'll just have our Sunday night chat. All right, appears that we're back up and running. So that's good news. Who fished this weekend? Everybody fished this weekend? I didn't fish this weekend. I try to stay off the water as much as possible on the weekends just because there's a bunch of people around and I don't necessarily want to be out there. I think there was a fishing tournament. I think the Navarre Fishing Rodeo. That's funny, Kenny. That's hilarious. I think there was a Navarre Fishing Rodeo this weekend. Anybody fish the Navarre Fishing Rodeo? What's up, Dan? What's up, Kenny? How do I catch more fish like you? All right, the secret is go fishing more often. It really helps when you live 5 minutes from the beach. That is the key to success. You have to be able to go fishing whenever you want. Hammered the trout and redfish here in Texas. Sounds like fun, Albert. Kyler's getting ready for Halloween. No fishing. Put the poll up there every time. It's always interesting to see. Last time we did the live, that poll at the top was like 50-50 on who fished and who didn't fish. And it had like 60 votes, something crazy. I don't know how it turned out to be perfect. Gary had to work. Happens to the best of us. It's just part of the game. All right, guys, like normal, we'll have the questions. You guys ask whatever questions you want. We'll answer them. If you use the discount code LIVE, L-I-V-E, there's a description below. You'll take 10% off of all your purchases on the website today and tomorrow, like through the 5th, okay? We also, last year we had a program called Buy Me a Lure, which was a program where you could go on the website, it's like a tip or donation to help support the channel, let us, buy fishing lures, stuff like that, and bring you more content like this, which is going to be a big part of the future of the business. Now, there's links below, all that stuff. Anyone who buys a product or does the Buy Me a Lure program will be entered automatically to win one of these tow ropes. Dan has been making these. I got 3 to give away today. The goal with this is I hate tow ropes that have metal clips on here, right? Because they bang on the kayak and they're real, real loud. So Dan's been using the splicing tool and splicing these together. They're 4 foot long with two 6-inch handles. That way you can loop it around anything, pull it tight, pull on it, and it won't ever hammer off the kayak, especially from that Lynx back there. Those things, if anything touches it, it echoes, it's loud. So anyone who buys anything automatically entered. We'll give away 3 of those. And the Buy Me a Lure thing, you can do it for as little as $1, okay? There's a drop-down menu. So for $1, you can be entered to win any of those. And it'll just be randomly selected based on the purchases. Back to bass fishing for me. You have fun with that, okay? You have fun with that. I know you'd rather chase the tuna. Joey's down south, caught a 36-inch redfish. Hoping to get out Friday, but it didn't work. Yeah, the weather kind of went to crap. We stayed inshore. We ran an inshore trip Friday. We had to hide from the wind. We had to fish a place I didn't really want to fish, but we had to do what we had to do. Steve, you get the all clear to go back out fishing. I'm pretty sure Steve had a heart attack a while back, so that's great news that you're back healthy enough to go fishing. Surf fishing still good. I don't spend much time surf fishing, so I really have no idea. I can't tell you. The last time I went surf fishing was with my buddy Jared, all right? It was a long time ago. Caught some black drum. Obviously, the surf fishing gets better in the fall and the spring, so ideally it is good right now. Do you have any suggestions for an old town predator new to kayaking? Love it, though. You know, my biggest suggestion for anyone, when you get your kayak, the first thing you should do is just spend time in it. Like, don't do anything to it. You know, I see guys, I used to sell kayaks a long time ago, right? And guys would come in, they buy the kayak, and they would just, like, hand you their debit credit card and be like, hey, put all this stuff on there. And I would just, like, all you need is a rod holder. And they look at you crazy. But less is more. Don't drill any holes in the kayak until you spend time in it. Get on the water, fish. The moment you go to land to fish and you're like, man, I wish my net, you will reach for the spot that you want the net to be. Like the easiest place, you will naturally look in that spot. So go fishing, spend time in the kayak, and then put things on the kayak. And that's what I come back to every time. We do have a video on here on YouTube. If you go to our channel, the search function, that tells you the first three things I would do to an old town, which is the bolt, the rudder bolt, which is it's the most important thing realistically, steering knob, and I forget what the third one is, seat risers. I don't know, little floating nuts, what it is. It's 3 or 4 things that will make your life a little bit better, okay? All right, Hector asked, when you first started fishing in very deep water, were you a little afraid? And if so, how did you overcome that fear? Now, when I started going offshore in the kayak, I didn't have anybody to go with, right? Obviously, I was in the Air Force. I didn't really even talk about fishing at work because I wanted to go do it by myself. I wanted to be left alone. It could be done. It could be a little overwhelming. I do remember a really, really funny story. I was in the Gulf. I was probably a mile and a half off the beach, and I was in a PA-12, right, a Pro Angler 12, and I'm just pedaling around. This is almost 10 years ago, right? Relatively clueless, hoping to catch something, I guess. And the water's crystal clear. And I remember looking down. It's like early summer. The water hadn't got all the grass in it. I remember looking down and seeing this giant black shadow. And I was like, what on earth is that? And it was like coming to the kayak. And I legitimately remember like sitting down in the seat, like I was hiding from something, like, because it was coming fast. And all of a sudden, all these little cigar minnows erupted around the kayak. And it was hilarious because, well, I was terrified. It's the truth. It's reality. You can't own it. You know, whatever. You got to be a man about it. Inexperienced, terrified. You just naturally overcome those things, right? You got to remember, after all, I am just a dude from the middle of Ohio. Sharks? I mean, I don't even think about it now, but, you know, the things that you think about that are unrealistic, think about this. If your kayak floats in 6 inches of water, or you could drown in 7 feet of water, you could drown in 70 feet of water. So be safe, pay attention to the weather, don't do anything that you haven't looked into. If you're uncomfortable, stay close to the beach, find someone else to go with, or, you know, get back to the beach. Laughing at the story. It is a funny story, okay? But it's the truth. It is what happened. That's just part of it's a big learning curve, okay? All right, Albert asked, what's a good method to look and fish for tuna when they are in? Realistically, it's just time on the water. Every year is a bit different. You know, the last 2-3 years have been, tuna have showed up late, like late October, November. Prior to that, I still got my cough. The first week of September, was really, really, really good for tuna. There was a lot of guys. I think September 3rd was like the day 4 or 5 years in a row where people had caught blackfin just off the beach trolling in their kayaks, and that happened for a long time. Okay, and then all of a sudden we just had a bunch of bad weather the last 2 or 3 years. Hurricanes are our biggest enemy. Not that the sailfish and tuna don't show up in September. We've just had a ton of hurricanes, right? Like last year, I think there was like 10 storms make landfall in the U.S. Well, when it's 10 foot out there, you can't get off the beach. So that kind of puts a damper in things. Last week, I look forward to this every year. Usually for sailfish, the tuna's kind of been my curse for a long time. And I much rather chase sailfish, so I haven't really put that much time into it. But we trolled the hard baits, the X-Rat. It's a size 12. It's a great job. There's a bunch of different baits. A lot of people like the crystal minnows. We did catch one. There was multiple tuna caught this week on just a king rig with a cigar minnow. So it's this time on the water, man. One thing about it, you can see them busting bait. They catch them from the pier. They catch the tuna from the pier. So don't think you got to go 70 feet of water super deep. I think the two that we caught this week were caught right around 50 foot. I can't remember for sure. We caught a lot of crazy fish this week. So a lot of random numbers in there. But I just wouldn't look too much into it. Just get out there, spend time on the water. Crazy things happen. You already know that. You just got to be out there, okay? And then just take your time. There's no rush to land the fish. Went to the pier on Saturday, only caught bait. Hey, bait's important, right? No, we could kind of see the fishing reports slowing down throughout the week. It was getting slower and slower, so I wasn't upset for the bad surf report or to take the weekend off. Gotta love the tuna guy. Hey, look, for flipping out of the kayak, look, Daniel's in here somewhere. He commented at the top. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one, Tyler. But yeah, Daniel is in here. He did flip the kayak. Now look, there's a lot of people in the kayaks or in the comments of that video, like, how is it possible to flip the kayak? Things happen, okay? It doesn't matter how experienced you are. It doesn't matter, okay? So one thing, he was turned sideways in the kayak. The handle was stuck on a life jacket, and he was doing this to get the handle out of his life jacket. But he only had like one butt cheek on the seat. So any little wave leaning backwards, I could fall out of this chair. The chair doesn't even tip. I would just fall out of the chair, right? So I don't look at it as he made a critical mistake. He was in an environment where, one, he had fought that fish for 20 plus minutes, which the majority of you never fought a fish for 20 minutes in a kayak. Technique wasn't the best. He put a lot more pressure on himself than the fish sometimes, which is part of life. So he's tired. Only been in that kayak a handful of times. We do fish with him multiple times this year, and he made a mistake and went swimming. It happens, okay? It's part of kayak fishing. You always refer to it as controlled chaos. And then you make a mistake, you take a swim, or you drop your gear, or you do something else. We have the rest of the video of him getting back in the kayak. He got back in the kayak with zero issues. Most important thing is, if you do fall out, don't panic. Take your time. Don't try to get back in the kayak. Get positioned properly, and then do it once and do it right. It's real simple, okay? Tyler mentioned to Gary about the Predator. Don't forget to unstrap the rudder when launching in the surf. It does happen, okay? Don't do that. You should always do a checklist. Pulling that bungee off the rudder is extremely important. Don't forget to do it. You should always practice getting back in your kayak. Got a little lost here. Good approach on bare bones in the new kayak, similar to not putting down sidewalks until you see where the people make trails and pave the trails. That's actually really smart. Makes a lot of sense, right? Josh Kayak Guggen's laughing at my bait story. It was terrifying, okay? Like, I didn't know. It was a long time ago. Got to learn somewhere. Never worry about alligators, but sharks pucker me up a bit. we've run into some alligators throughout the year, inshore, fishing some places. I don't really worry about it. All right, Kenny says, second time I went offshore, I went over a fad and thought a submarine was coming to the surface under me. Had no clue what a fad was. Scared the shit out of me. Bro, I've seen some weird things out there where you just, whether the sun is weird, you catch it wrong, and even now, you're like, what is that? Because you can't tell. I mean, this is part of the game. If anyone says they've gone offshore and they're a mile from the beach in 60, getting out to 70 feet of water, and they tell you that they've never had a moment where they were like, oh shit, they're lying to you, okay? It can be a little spooky out there. Everybody gets inside their own head. Tuna and sail this week. I was fortunate enough to catch a sail and a tuna back-to-back days. We had a client catch a sailfish Sunday with Skylar and Jamie. I think it was Sunday or Saturday or Sunday. His name's Paul. Did a great job, healthy release, all that good stuff. And then Daniel caught the tuna on, I think it was Thursday. I don't know. My days get mixed up. There's a lot of fish out there. Family and I practice re-entering the kayaks every spring over and over again. Yeah, I try to tell everybody, I used to do these seminars in person, and, I always ask, hey, show of hands, who's ever flipped their kayak and tried to get in it? No one raises their hand just because maybe they don't want to be uncomfortable and get wet or whatever it is. But there's a lot of people that I watch launch their kayaks on the beach who have zero experience re-entering their kayaks and definitely are not in good enough physical shape to get back in. And if you fall into that category and you've never tried it, you should not go in water where you cannot touch it. You're creating a liability for yourself, other kayakers, the Coast Guard, anyone who comes to rescue you, the fire department. If you can't take care of your own business, you shouldn't be out there. Maybe it sounds mean. It's just reality. Do you carry a VHF radio with you when going more than a mile offshore? I don't. And the reason is this. If we pull out the VHF radio, maybe you can get a kayaker nearby. But to get to Coast Guard, where we launch at, we are right in the middle of Pensacola and Destin. It's a pretty long run for them to get to you, okay? You need to be prepared to take care of yourself in every way, shape, or form. Don't hit me with the ifs if you have a heart attack or whatever, right? We're not ifing it. You need to be able to take care of your business in that kayak. It's a big thing, okay? If you can't, oh, well, I never turned this light on. I was using the other light. Hold on. That's funny. I was like, wait a minute. The lighting's messed up. Another little light turned off. Maybe it sounds harsh, but I don't think the radio is necessarily going to save you at the Coast Guard around here. The smartest option is to have your cell phone. You can call the Navarre Beach Fire Department, and that's my game plan, right? If you do fall out the kayak, don't panic. I wouldn't even suggest inflating your life jacket, because if you do that, you turn into the Michelin Man, and it makes getting back into the kayak more challenging. I keep my cell phone secure in a place I can get to, so if I did flip, it doesn't sink to the bottom. And then if I'm really hurt or there's a problem, my goal is to call the fire department, because they have a jet ski, and the lifeguards can come out to you immediately, okay? That's where my phone call's going. It's faster. That jet ski can be to you in minutes, where the Coast Guard's can take an extreme long time. Jack said he had his foot in the water, put a snapper in my fish bag, had a remora up against my foot. I may or may not feel like a girl. Hey, look, I have some remora stories. I've had clients do it too. Like, you go to rinse your hands off in the water. I've had a remora bite my finger. Oh, doesn't even hurt. That thing will scare you to death. I've had clients do it. They put their hand in the water, and the remora will come up and like hit their fingers. It's hilarious. All right, terrifying, but truly hilarious. I bring fins offshore. Helps me get back in. I also have a hand to build foam for when I forget the drain plugs in. Look, make mistakes, learn from those mistakes, have plans to fix those mistakes. If you do it again, you shouldn't ever forget to put the drain plugs back in your kayak. All right, that doesn't make any sense. Just had an idea. Maybe I should mount a come along on my kayak to crank myself back into the kayak when I fall out. The best thing you can do is if you think that you will have trouble getting back into the kayak, okay? And we filmed this with Daniel today, but I'll give you a good idea of it. If you are at a place that has current and you can't touch your feet, if you were on this side of the kayak, here's the kayak, you're on this side, if the current's coming from behind you, your feet will suck underneath the kayak, which will make getting back in extremely hard. You always want to turn the kayak down current so you can grab the kayak like this away from you, extend your feet away from the kayak, and Daniel did a really good job of this, okay? Get your feet out, and you kind of want to swim into the kayak because your head needs to get to the other side of the kayak, okay? If not, you just pull on one side, the kayak will just flip up, and you'll never get in it. You'll just wear yourself out. It's exhausting. I have clients who don't listen. Sometimes they fall out throughout the summer doing dumb things, and then they try to get in by themselves, and they just keep burning. I'm like, hey, you got to stop. Stop. Listen to me. I'll tell you the right answer. If you continue to do it that way, you're just going to wear yourself out. Now, if you aren't strong enough to pull yourself in the kayak, one of the things you can do is take a rope, right? You have a rope. You can put it on the opposite handle, put it underneath the kayak, and then when you stand on it with your foot, it'll pull the other handle down so the kayak doesn't flip towards you, and it makes getting back into the kayak a lot easier. It's like a ladder system, okay? I know an older gentleman named Dave. We take him offshore a bunch of times. He has a rope with a handle in it, and he's definitely the guy who has practiced. If he falls out, hold on to the kayak. Remember, the kayak floats, not going anywhere. Doesn't matter. It'll be there, okay? He'll throw the rope over. He can put his foot in the rope, and then when he puts pressure on that rope, it'll pull the other kayak that side down, and he can pull himself in. There's got to be some videos on YouTube. Truthfully, I don't plan on jumping in to show you how to get back in the kayak. Maybe I should, but you should find a controlled environment that you can stand up in that's 4 feet deep. Put your feet out, don't cheat, and try to get back into your kayak. If you can't do it, then you simply should not go alone. You should practice, find a solution for you, and if you can't do it, you shouldn't be out there. Even if you have people with you, you shouldn't be out there if you can't take care of your own business. It's like practice. If you want to be good at something or successful, you got to put the time in, and being able to be in good enough shape to get back in the kayak by yourself is something everybody should be able to do. Weather would bother me a lot more than sharks or any other marine creature. Weather is pretty easy. Pay attention to it. That's it. Pay attention to it. Make smart choices. Have a plan. If you don't understand the weather, don't go. Obviously, we spend, whatever we face it, I spent pretty much my life out there for several years. If you don't understand the weather, don't go. See a lot of guys who don't get it. They don't understand the wind's going to shift. Oh, the surf looks great. And then the wind shifts and they get hammered, or the wind's blowing 20 out of the north and the surf is calm. They'll launch. They go. Next thing you know, they're a mile off the beach and they can't get back because they're getting beat to death, out there in 3-foot chop. It's not fun. I've been there. No, we'll never use molds. There's a reason. That's why we are excelling at this, all right? I treat water deeper than 20 foot like that. Childhood game lava. Oh, you just ain't going out there? If it's deeper than 20 foot, I have no reason to be near it. What other questions do we got? We got questions. It's a pretty good week offshore. Hopefully the weather improves this coming week. Doesn't really take much of a weather change for the tuna sailfish to leave. Adam, thanks for watching, man. I appreciate everybody watching. I'm supposed to tell you guys to go hit the thumbs up button because that's supposed to be good for YouTube, but I don't do a very good job with that stuff. I do appreciate you guys watching. I do appreciate you guys asking the question. If I'm not jumping in water deeper than 30, if I can help it, I rolled 2 miles out and got back in less than 30 seconds. Hey, Kenny, why don't you type the story about how you rolled 2 miles out? I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Look, Kenny has a ton of experience. Things happen, okay? Like I'm ready to roll. I already know that sometime soon, I'm knocking on the wood. I have been overdue to flip into surf. I've been overdue to flip offshore. As much time as we spend out there, I should have done flipped and lost all my stuff. And I'm sure I'm going to do it one day. People will be like, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing. No, it happens to everybody. You just got to accept the game, flip. It's part of life, okay? Squalls come up super fast, more than Mile Offshore. I mean, the one thing, Rob, our weather is pretty predictable around here, okay? It's pretty predictable. It's not the Texas marsh. We see the same thing every day. When you know it's going to be bad, it's going to be bad. When there's storms are going to pop up, it's there. It's predictable. It's just an interesting place. Storms move the same direction. But you got to spend a lot of time out there to see that pattern, right? If we're going to have storms, like pop-up storms all over the place, they're going to be all over the place and they'll just jump around. And if that's the case, you should not be out there, period. It's not worth the risk. Everybody's main goal is not to fall in, Tyler. It just happens, all right? Like, we have a lot of clients. We've had clients fall in over the year. I bet we have like on an average of 3 fall in every year. I think the first person I ever had fall in, this is back in like 2017. I can't remember the gentleman's name. He's from like Missouri. He came down. He had a bass boat. This beautiful bass boat. He didn't want to put it in salt water. We were fishing inshore. We had been fishing for an hour and a half or so. He's comfortable. He's standing up in the Predator. He's fishing like he would off the front of his bass boat. And then he tried to walk. He just caught his foot and boom. He got crushed. He fell right in. It was funny. He laughed. I laughed. The water was like 1.5 feet, 2 feet deep. He got back in. We went back to fishing. Kenny just typed why he flipped over. Yep. Hey, I felt terrible for you, but looking back on it, it is pretty funny. Chris bought a Lynx yesterday, fished with it, loved it. Yep. The Lynx is pretty dope. I'll tell you this. When I first bought the Lynx, the first one, I was pretty doubtful that I'd be able to do a lot of things with it. I just like the idea of it being so light. I'm pretty much positive that we proved that you can do anything you want to do with the Lynx. It's 11-foot beast, okay? Spoke any more about the Old Town 120 PDL seed spacers? All right, Adam, it's there. There's a lot going on around here, okay? Like, it's hard to do some of that stuff sometime. I mean, we got, like, the Bixby stuff. There's just a never-ending list of things that go on around here that most of you guys don't see, don't know, behind the stages. There's a lot of things that happen, okay? The seat spacers are there. I messed with it some more. I tested them on the salty and the Predator, the big water. They're going to work the same with the top water, but I like to confirm that before I tell people what it does. So one day at a time, it's coming. Just want to say thank you, new to this. Hey, no worries, man. That's it. Look, the goal, we could have made all this fishing content and all this stuff for a really, really long time, but it was just me. For the first few years of the business, it was just myself running the trips. Obviously, my wife runs the business. But now that we have Dan for production, Jamie runs the majority of the charters. Skylar helps out when he can. Obviously, he's still in the Air Force. Now we have time to make the content, do these videos, interact with people more, show you guys the fishing trips. I'll say this, we caught a lot of amazing fish the first 4 or 5 years of the business and never told anybody it happened because we have an amazing set of repeat customers. We don't necessarily need more charter clients. We have them. I fish with the same people every week, every year. multiple times a year, and COVID kind of messed that up as it should. Okay, but it's all coming back, and it's the same people over and over again, and it's cool. Obviously, we still take new clients regularly. That's why Jamie is such a huge part of the charter business. But it's nice to have the time to do this stuff. Okay, John, do you ever fish in the Sound or East Bay? So we try to catch them. What do you do? So, well, we fish the Sound, East Bay. We fish every bay. Okay, like we go out to Freeport. We go out to Pensacola. One thing about fishing every day is the tide has to be right. Can't have too much rain. The wind direction. You got to factor all those things. We fish all over the place, right? The Sound, all we throw is artificials, right? So throughout the summer, the Sound has a lot of floating grass. So Zoom Fluke, we did this presentation, 5/0 hook. Obviously, we have a whole apparel line called Always Throw Top Water. So we, try to cover as much water with top water and find fish. And those go for every body of water. We throw a lot of the stick baits with clients because there's no treble hooks, and we've proven it catches everything. This Friday we went out. We weren't in East Bay of the Sound, but we were out and about, out towards Pensacola, and we threw little X-Rap 08, probably my all-time favorite lure for just catching everything. Hooked some nice fish. They broke off some quality reds on docks. Things happen, right? Good times, though. But both of the fishes are good. You got to spend time in it. Bought the seat risers. Yeah, the seat risers really do make a large difference. If you have sat in the Old Town and you're in that stock, even though Lynx make risers for the Lynx, huge difference. But you guys probably seen those videos. The Old Town naturally kind of sit like this reclined angle. If you sit at a reclined angle the whole time, your shoulders are forward. There's a lot of stress on your shoulders and your neck after a long day. Your back will start hurting, your lower back hurts. The seat risers put you in a more upright position and makes it easier to cast, lean forward, stand up. That stuff makes a huge difference, okay? What are your thoughts on the Bixby J2 as add-on to the Hobie, Lynx, or Compass? Okay, so Kayak Guggen, Josh Guthrie. This is actually his Bixby J2. The good news is Friday, Bixby got back to us. Our account has been created, so we are officially Bixby dealers. We'll probably place our order tomorrow or Tuesday. If you want a Bixby J2 battery, motor kit, all that good stuff with the intentions of mounting it on the Old Town or the Lynx or whatever else, shoot me an email at nick@navarrekayakfishing.com so you guys can have priority on that. We're definitely going to order a minimum of like 10 units. The initial order has to be like 10K, okay? So if you guys are interested in one, email me, and you guys can have first dibs when they arrive. There may be a little back order in there. If you look at their website, you might not get them until, I think it said October. I don't remember. So if you're interested, email me so you have priority. If you know anything about the Bixby J2, it does not fit through the drive hole on the Lynx, which I tested it. It does not fit. That's why we made, if you watch that video, and I'll grab this piece real quick. This was the first prototype for the Lynx. This mounts in the handle spots like this. The Bixby mounts up here, and it folds into the water. That way you can just fold it up when you're not using it and fold it down. And if you watch the Sailfish video where I go to help Marcus, the guy who called, I put this down, and I had the Lynx with pedaling over 4 miles per hour. And this is just a prototype, so this needs to be pointy instead of flat because that was slowing it down, causing a bunch of drag. Prototype worked really, really well. We will talk about that stuff more. Just haven't had time, okay? Just not enough hours in the day. Well, I appreciate it, Joshua. Thanks for watching the videos, man. If you got any questions, just put them in there. No, Adam, you're good. You don't gotta leave me alone. I got some seat spacers. I worked on it a bit this weekend, testing them on the kayaks. I'm pretty much ready, man. I got to film the video and talk about some things, the pros and cons of it. We put a split ring mount on there, so you put a split ring and attach your stuff to it. And then There's just a bunch of stuff to do with the release of any of that stuff. Okay, it's coming. Just you gotta bear with me. Okay, I probably should have told anybody it existed. Um, is there any true benefit upgrading from a 2019 Old Town Predator PDL to a newer model? The only thing I can really think of that makes a difference to me is the pedal drive. Now, on the old pedal system, has that circular hatch. Thing's garbage. Okay, it just leaks water all day. It's terrible. Okay, the newer style PDL drive has that rectangular hatch that pops up, waterproof, very very nice. Does a fantastic job. Outside of that, that's the biggest difference. The plastic rudder on the new version is that's just a terrible decision. I feel like that was just a new production team doing things. No. Dan commented. He talked about the color. Dan likes the first light color, which is nice. It's nice. Okay, but performance-wise, you get a plastic rudder. It doesn't have a bolt in it. Same hull design. The seat on the new Big Water doesn't have a bag on the back of it. They said they upgraded the seat. No, they didn't. We talked about that. The seat there's one less piece of fabric on the seat. It's pretty much the same thing, except for it doesn't have the bag and a little tiny piece that goes around the bar. So I wouldn't unless you just wanted a new pedal drive. I think the new pedal drive, same performance, same system, just waterproof. Okay. All right. Yeah, the slow motion kayak flip. It was pretty funny. Should have seen it in person. Yeah. If I was close enough, you could just like grab them and pull them back over. I appreciate it, Daniel. Appreciate it. The December, your favorite redfish month? Any month when other people don't go fishing and there aren't any tourists driving jet skis is my favorite month. That's just reality. But the best month to catch redfish in this town is the first week of April. Best month, first week of April. No questions about it. Oh, I've lost my spot. Running a guide business, yeah. There's a lot that goes into it. Like I talked about this last week. Maybe it was you or someone else asked the question. The guide business is no joke. If you can't catch fish yourself in every single condition, then don't bother trying to take someone else fishing. That's the most difficult part. Bixby to Torpedo. I have messed with a Torpedo a few times. The older Torpedo Evolve system. I think they offer two different capabilities. Torpedo, look at it now, their systems are super elaborate, back of the boat, new steering systems, whereas the Bixby is modular. They have a bunch of different things, and you can just attach it to anything. Like legitimately, you attach it to anything. And after Josh brought it over, he applied to be Bixby dealers because I like the ability to attach it to anything, push a button on a remote, and it go. I personally wouldn't use a trolling motor system to fish. I want to use the trolling motor system to get back to the launch. Say I pedal 5 miles somewhere and I want to go back. I want to push a button. I want to reply to emails, run the business from my office, the kayak's my office, and then get back without exhausting myself. Chris, I'm not saying you can't fish. I'm telling you, you need to be honest with yourself. It is challenging. Nothing worse than not catching fish and having people disappointed at you. I'll tell you this. Before we started the kayak business, I used to think that I was a really good fisherman. Everybody does, right? I didn't know anything. I learned more in the first year of the kayak business than I can't even explain it. Like people would come talk to you, like, oh yeah, it's like this. They fish once a month. They have no idea what they're talking about. You fish 25 plus days a month, 300 plus days a year, and then you'll actually have an idea of what is going on. Okay, that's I'm not being mean. I'm just being honest. Okay. For us that are new to pedal kayaking, could you explain the benefits from the metal rudder versus plastic rudder? Look, when Old Town first released the Predator, I had this design team. This design team obviously was on top of their game. They did a fantastic job, okay? The metal rudder, it came with the bolt as well, so you could adjust the bolt. The new guys came in, and I don't know what they did, but it was goofy. Why would you take a good working product and do whatever you did? It don't make no sense. So the metal rudder is aluminum from the factory originally. It didn't flex, right? Cut through the water. You could beat the crap out of it. It wouldn't break. It never got flimsy and bent more. The plastic rudder, it's plastic. Now, the autopilot rudder is a different type of polymer, okay? And it's super strong, whereas the one on the Predator, that rudder is, they could just upgrade the plastic to a better product, but that plastic is junk, and you can just grab it and it'll bend. You don't want that, because then when you're in heavy current, so you try to turn left, and on the steering handle, when you push left, it'll feel like you can feel it bending, because if you let go, it'll snap back to where it was. And that's because the rudder is flexing and not cutting through the water. So if you fish a place that has heavy current, river, offshore, big lake, anywhere with wind, the metal rudder really helps you cut through the water. That's why we put it on all our kayaks for going offshore. It's not needed on the Lynx and stuff, but like the Predator is a big, heavy kayak. Sits deep in the water, hard to turn. Anytime you're trying to turn and that rudder is flexing, you're just losing, steering power, control, maneuverability. It's not for everybody. Everybody doesn't need it. It does make a significant difference, though. So here you're saying I can just upgrade the pedal drive. Yeah, but the pedal drive's like $1,000. So you're almost better off just selling it, getting a new one, so it's gonna last longer. I mean, the resale value on some of these pedal kayaks is insane. Okay, especially if you can find a way to get a new kayak without waiting 8 months, which has been a difficult thing. Let's see here. Got some random comments. Missing some things. I love the ability to adjust the rudder with that bolt. Look, the bolt is important. Like when they first released that new steering knob as an upgrade, I was like, how do you work for the company, create a new item, and not even know how to use the old kayak? And no one even talked about the bolt being on the rudder. And I'm like, it didn't make any sense. It just really goes to show, we don't need to go into it. We do still make the aluminum rudder. There's actually, if you look right there on top of the laser, right over there, there's some sitting over there that are prepped, ready to be wrapped in bubble wrap and shipped out tomorrow. Get the new kayak before you sell the old one. Don't get stuck waiting. I've been there, it sucks. You also get a new kayak like every 4 weeks, so I'm sure you have been stuck without a kayak. Fair to assume that the rudder issue would apply to the Sportsman 120 PDL. Yeah, it's the same principle. That, and look, it's plastic, right? So the more you use that plastic rudder, the flimsier it gets, right? My very first videos of the overview of the new 2019 Predator PDL, because middle of 2019 they released a new plastic version. Different camo, stuff like that. And James gave it to me from the dealership when it came off trailer before iCast. So I got to record my video before Old Town talked about it, which I'm not going to lie to you. I'm just going to be blunt about it. That rudder, I was like, this is a major concern. They put a handle in, a carrying handle. If you carry that thing long enough by the handle, if that bungee breaks and that handle comes up, you're going to cut your face off. Very interesting. Very interesting. the top water, the Sportsman, whatever it's called these days, 120. It's the same situation. If you're gonna fish heavy current, change the rudder. You don't have to, but if you want it to perform well and not be sluggish, we ship out a lot of rudders. Okay, if they sucked, we wouldn't ship them out. Tyler says that he backed through the garage door with his metal rudder. Can I tell you a funny story? For a long time, it was just me in the charters. So come fall, I had ran charters all year. You're 180 charters into a season. You're exhausted, right? You're tired. You're taking semi-shortcuts. And I decided to put 2 Predators in the back of the old Dakota with the bed extender just to, I don't know, I think I already had one kayak loaded up. I was going offshore to run a trip, and I was headed east to make the turn on the Navarre Beach Bridge, and one of the kayaks, the strap came undone, and it rolled off the truck on the road. I'm doing 25 miles, 30 miles per hour, and it landed on the rudder, the metal rudder, right? And it hit it hard, and I, hit the brakes. I get out, I throw it back up in there, I strap it down, and I drive to that Tom Thumb, and I was able to pull my Leatherman out of my glove box, bend the aluminum back, pull out the little file down the rough spot, make sure everything looked pretty and straight, and go fishing. If it was a plastic system, it would have shattered, and I would have had to turn around, go home, and get a different kayak. So I wish the whole assembly was metal. We talked about it in videos for a long time. All they had to do was put a turnbuckle system on the metal system, not redesign a new thing, not create new injection molds, just add a turnbuckle to the top of the metal thing. You already had a part of the kayak that was perfect. There's no reason to change it. No one's worried about paying $200-300 extra for that kayak. They want it to perform well. It just build me a Bentley, not something else. All right. I want it to perform correctly. Rob said he always carries a spare PDL lockdown knob. Broke one of my opera dock the other day, like he had a little clip of plastic left. Had to be a bit of a paddle. I know some guys who have broke their knobs on the PDL drive and then taken one off the top part and only had 2, like one up top, one on the bottom, and they were able to pedal, not super hard, but they could pedal without any issues. But that being said, you need an Allen wrench to change that. I found the perfect kayak, the only one they don't build anymore, the Predator MK. Look, I feel like Old Town will release the 106 MK in a 12-foot version, a skinnier 12-foot version. Like, build me a Trident, an Ocean Kayak Trident, put a lighter motor in there. It's the 21st century. Johnson Outdoors owns a trolling motor company. Why is the trolling motor this big? Like, build me a trolling motor, 25-pound thrust, doesn't matter. Build it small, make it 10 pounds. Give me a lithium-ion battery with it. Don't make me go spend $1,000 elsewhere. Give me the complete package, charger, complete package. Let's go. 12-foot, under 100 pounds, fully electric. Put a seat in it that doesn't cost $20, and I think you got a winner. Eventually, it'll happen. Let's see here. Nick, what part of Northeast Ohio are you from? Oh, I grew up in a little town called Levittsburg, just outside of Warren. Cornfields, woods. Not a lot of people. I liked it. It was a good childhood. If you have the autopilot, you have no reason to upgrade your plastic rudder to the aluminum rudder, because the rudder you have is a different type of plastic, different type of polymer. It's super strong compared to the rudder on the Sportsman and the top water and the Predator and the big water and the salty. Can't stop coughing. That's a good question. Okay, so, and we've had some problems with it this year. The question is, as the season ends for us Northerners, like myself, doesn't have a shed, doesn't have a garage, how does he store his kayak throughout the winter? Build something. Build a lean-to. Keep the snow off it. Keep a tarp on it. Keep the sun from hitting it directly. Put it in the shade. This is the first year that, as a business owner, as a kayak owner, that I've ever allowed kayaks to be stored outside as a temporary solution while we got the shed, made room in here for all the equipment, and we've had problems. Actually, one of them cracked. I fixed it today, actually, earlier, but took all year. But the sun, the exposure to weather, that's not good for the kayaks. I actually had an email from a gentleman the other day. The bottom of his kayak cracked from being stored over the winter. I don't know all the details, okay? I don't know whose fault it is. But Old Town told me they wouldn't warranty it, which I was actually pretty shocked about because it was a pretty serious crack. And even if the plastic was thick enough, it cracked. Like, it's a crack. It doesn't matter how thick the plastic is. Maybe it was a bad spot in the mold. It doesn't matter. It cracked. It's crazy. And it's a serious gash. So cover it up. Do something to keep it out of the sun. Makes a big difference, okay? Let's build it. Like your occurrence in a kayak, Steve. One day. I don't have time at the moment right now. I have some ideas, though. They're queuing up on a tournament, guys, to build that. Yeah, Old Town's definitely push. You saw it happen years ago. Hobie pushed to the bass market. Old Town's like a little brother that's behind. Sometimes it's funny to watch. Been doing this a long time. It's the same story every year. They kind of try to go to the bass market, and the idea was, I've even heard it mentioned, to get the co-anglers from the bass boats into a cheaper bass boat, which is autopilot. And it's interesting to see where it's going. I don't really care. I enjoy kayak fishing. It doesn't make a difference to me. Tournaments are irrelevant. I honestly, to spend 12 plus hours to go win the prize money, that's like a little tiny prize money, is just not worth it for this guy. Where are we on the Hi, I'm Nick bumper stickers? Haven't seen them in the store. On a serious note, I'd like to see some of our decals. Lots of stuff like that we can do. Really just comes down to what you guys want. So if you guys are interested in that in large numbers, it's up to you guys. All right. Let me know. We'll see if we can make it happen. Slowly building up the courage to install the metal rudder on my Sportsman. Yes, me and Rob have had this conversation. We've had only one or two people ever mess up the metal rudder install. And of course, I got on FaceTime with them and solved the issue. The crack was in the bottom of the kayak, okay? I have an issue with my seat riser for my 120. When it's too big, can't tighten them down. Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, just shoot me an email. Look, everything that we sell has a warranty. It doesn't matter what it is. It has a no questions asked warranty. I'll ask questions, but it's more like to figure out how to make it better. That's a new one, okay? So just shoot me an email, and then we'll get that worked out. It's not a big deal. All right, let's see here. Sometimes it's hard to read this chat thing on the computer over here. I fish to get away from people, not sitting a bunch of them fighting for fish. Yeah, it's not really a tournament thing. Look, years ago, I used to travel to Panama City and all these local tournaments and stuff. And, bro, you spend 12 plus hours and then you don't make no money. That's super funny. Like, doesn't make any sense to me. Hey, if you guys are just joining, we talked about it a bit earlier. We're going to give these 3 ropes away. They're just kayak tow ropes. They're spliced together, right? So there's nothing metal to hit on anything and make any loud noises. The Lynx is obviously that weird ASA material in semi-hollow, so anything that hits it is real loud. I like the idea of having metal pieces on there. So we had Dan make these, did a fantastic job. You can just loop it around anything and then tighten to your kayak and pull it away. We're going to give them away to anyone who makes a purchase on the website. Everything on the website is 10% off. Doesn't matter what you buy. We also have another program. You guys can see it in the description. It's called Buy Me a Lure. We actually launched it last winter, but got busy, didn't really know how to implement it properly. You can give us a tip for if you enjoy the content, whether it's this or the videos, $1, $2, $5, or $10, one-time thing. Even if you go do whatever and you buy the $1 one, you're still automatically entered in the rope, okay? So we're going to give away 3 of them to 3 random people who make a purchase. Nothing else to it, okay? Very, very simple. Eventually, these will go up on the website. When you get it, it'll be packaged like that. Nothing fancy. Keeping it simple. Trevor, did you buy me a lure? I appreciate it. Actually had somebody reach out, ask me where it had went, and I kind of removed it to get it set up and bring it back up, okay? So for $1, you're qualified. That goes for everybody. Love seeing the fish from the Lynx. Got a PA 14360. Seen the Lynx when I picked up my PA. Sets up for my Predator. 13 with Trolling Bar. So far, I'm happy. Look, the PA 360 is sweet. That thing is just so heavy. I'm over heavy, okay? I drug kayaks across the beach for years. I don't do it as much anymore because of Jamie. The Lynx serves me well. It doesn't weigh anything. And it really makes my life easier. Honestly, in the years past, come September, I didn't even want to go fishing because I was so burnt out from dragging kayaks. So really, the Lynx motivated me to go out more now just because it's so easy, okay? And it's just how it should be. It should be minimalist approach. What I like, simple kayak to water, go fishing. What do you think about a standing platform where the seat folds over for the marsh? Anything's possible. Which kayak though? Okay, which can you be more specific about which kayak? I'm not sure if we're talking about the Autopilot, the Predator, the Lynx. Just be more specific, and we'll talk. Oh, there we go. I know guys who stand on the seat. Like they actually stand. Jeff, my buddy Jeff, he just stands on the seat. Now, I don't know how tall, big person you are or anything like that. You could probably just set, we could talk about it. You could probably just put a piece of wood that you keep underneath the seat across the 2 edges of the seat. Might lean back a little bit, but you'd be able to stand on it. I don't know. There's always a way. Dan says a note from me. He's like, I fall out of the kayak no matter what. I don't need that in my life. It would definitely help with being able to see more in the marsh. That is for sure. You need bigger stickers. I like the little stickers. I'm not a real big sticker guy, okay? So the little stickers are good. What are your thoughts on kayak kill guards? If you're for them, do you have any recommendations for the 120? We don't personally need the kill guards where we live, in my opinion. If you live in a place where you are, rivers, white water, you got to go through places where you're going to gouge the kayak up, I understand. If you are using a boat ramp every day, in my opinion, you don't need a kill guard. If you need a kill guard and you're going to a boat ramp every day, you're doing something incorrectly in my mind. I watch people, and I mess them every day at a boat ramp sometimes, right? I watch guys paddle straight into the boat ramp. We talked about this in the last video. Unless you're in a place that's super rocky, I don't see the need for it. Unless you're truly just abusing your kayak. And then you can make one out of for the sportsman. I don't think anyone really makes one for it. I thought about cutting them out of C-Deck. I think C-Deck would actually do pretty well for it. I just hadn't had the time to do it. You can take Kydex from Amazon, heat it up with a heat gun or your wife's blow dryer or your blow dryer, and then marine goop it in place and be good to go. There's a lot of options, okay? The DIY one seems to be the most common. All right, Rob, thanks for watching, man. I hope you have a good night. Oh, the comment section is going weird. My wife has a standing bet that I'll get a Lynx after telling her the Lynx story. She doesn't understand how heavy your craft is heavy. You got all kinds of stuff on that Predator. But look, the Predator is a great kayak. If I only had to move one kayak and it's just me, probably wouldn't have got rid of the Predator because it just is a fantastic all-around platform for our fishery. The Lynx is killing it for me, okay? How high can you raise the seat? You can raise the seat pretty darn high. Now, if you raise the seat too high in a PDL, you have to watch the front of the kayak, and the front of the seat will hit your hamstrings when you pedal. Like you try to pedal and your hamstrings hit, you won't be able to get that full rotation on the pedals. So 1 inch in the front, 2 inch in the rear seems to be the most common. We sell a ton of them, okay? Seems to be the most common situation. 1 inch in the front, 2 inch in the rear, comfortable, still very, very stable, makes standing and leaning forward great. Yeah, I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully the time that we do these things is pretty good. I know it's kind of late some places. People got to go to work, but try to figure out a good time to do these live events. Seriously, since I'm 74, the Autopilot 120 is too heavy. I like to talk about mounting trailer motor on the Lynx or the Compass. Weight should be a huge reduction. Look, I'm telling you, I already mounted the Bixby on the Lynx. Deploy it, use it, put it up, don't use it. Push a button on the remote. If you do have a Predator, look, Josh Kayak Guggen, he's been nice enough to just give me the Bixby every time he goes back to work, right? So here it is. I haven't showed anybody this yet. This is the mount for the Predator or Big Water PDL. Now, this is it. This is the insert piece. This is the piece that we created on the bottom that the Bixby mounts to. This is all factory stuff from Bixby. The power cord goes up through here. We printed this grommet. Never even pulled the protective cover off this one. It has been used. It goes in place. And then this piece here pushes forward, locks it in place on the Predator. You put 2 screws into a black piece. We'll do a full video about that. Locks in place. You push the remote. This goes to the battery underneath your seat, behind your seat, wherever you're keeping it. And then you no longer need your pedal drive. I mean, you can bring your pedal drive. You can leave it in position, pick it up, put this in, do what you got to do, use this, pull it out. And then all you do to remove it is pull this backwards, grab that piece, pull it out, put it underneath the seat, behind the seat, wherever you want to keep it. This was the simplest, easiest way, take up the least amount of room on the kayak, cause the least amount of problems that I could think of. Had a few different ideas. This seemed to be the best option. If Josh is still in there, he can tell you his speeds offshore. I had the Predator over 4 miles per hour in the river with the prototype, which was a little bit different. Cruising, that was on like speed. I think I was on speed 7. It did better on 5 through 7 than it did 1 through 4 or 8 through 9, 8, 9, 10. I didn't want to go up there. It gets a little bit loud in the low ones, a little bit loud in the high ones. In the middle was great. I was able to cover a ton of water, and it worked really, really good. Dang, yeah, PA14 with the motor guide. That's a lot of weight. How in the world are you keeping things like cell phones dry on the Lynx? Look, I keep everything dry on the Lynx. Like, hold up, can you guys see it? Look, that's the one I've been fishing from. There's an H crate behind the seat. There's a Hobie bag on it. Look, the Lynx is not a wet ride. That's probably the #1 thing other than stability that everyone says, oh, that thing's going to be so wet. It's not. The first 3 fishing trips offshore in it I came back to the beach, spent 2-3 hours out there, and no part of me was wet. Like, I came back to the beach and just stepped out into ankle deep water, never got wet. You guys can watch those videos. Nothing was wet. I had my shorts on. It's dry. Did you set your phone on the bottom of your kayak? Like in the Predator, do you just like toss your phone on the bottom of the kayak? No, you put it behind the seat. You put it underneath the seat. Tons of way to keep your stuff organized and dry. Plus, I bring a lot less stuff than most of you guys. How'd you set up Bixby on the Lynx? Okay, so I showed you this earlier. And if you watch the Sailfish video, I know some people just join in random times. If you watch the Sailfish video, when I had a phone call, I went and helped Marcus out. I put this down. You guys can see it in that video. This mounts to where the little crappy handles are on the side of the kayak to squish your fingers if you use them. And then this folds down. Bixby mounts there. So it's up here. Off you go. I zip tied the battery to the inside of the H crate. Obviously connected the cord to the battery, the kill switch to the battery. Off I went. It is a prototype. I have some rooms, things to change, but we will once the Bixby stuff shows up, we have the Bixby's on hand. We start selling the Bixby's on the website. We will release the Bixby mounts. That way you guys can one-stop shop on the website, buy the mounts, buy everything you need, buy the Bixby, all that good stuff. This needs a few little design changes, but really it worked fantastic. And I think the total Bixby system, I think the battery is roughly just over 7 pounds or just under 7 pounds. The motor piece, the actual motor is like under 3 pounds. So you could put 10 pounds on your kayak and motorize it, which is pretty darn impressive if you ask me. Do you know micro skip that is seaworthy for an offshore as a kayak? You going out the pass, launching on the beach? Lots of questions, okay? Lots of micro skiffs are seaworthy in super calm conditions, right? But micro skiffs are also hard to get across the beach. I've seen some guys at the beach in those little like inflatable boat rovers. What's that little solo skiff? I had a solo skiff, but that thing was put a motor on it, like 250 pounds. It's hard to get across the beach. Okay, Josh says with this setup here in the Predator PDL, same as the Big Water, he was doing 3.5, and that's dragging a bait tube. I was doing 4 dragging a bait tube and pedaling with the Lynx in the Bixby. When I pulled that bait tube out of the water, I had to slow it down because it was too fast. If you take it out of the drive slot while in the water, I'm guessing it doesn't float like the tow drive on the Predator. No, this thing is definitely not floating. This plate floats, but once you add all this weight, this is no longer buoyant. That is why it has the clip here. You can tether it to your kayak because that's smart. Also, it'll be attached to the battery, and the battery should be secured to your kayak. It shouldn't fall out or disappear. Lots of cool stuff. There's always lots of cool stuff going on. It's impossible to do everything at once, right? I mean, I still try. It's just not possible. Well, thanks, Adam. I appreciate you guys watching, okay? I mean, obviously, if you guys want to do this stuff more often, make sure you just hit the thumbs up button, stuff like that. Leave the comments. Ask the questions. That stuff goes a long way, okay? Ideally, in the future, we'll be able to get Jamie in here so I don't have to just sit here and talk the whole time. Jamie is a huge part of the business, okay? He is the future of the charter business. That should be obvious. Does a great job, great with people. You guys should already know that. But we're going to start doing some more stuff. We just got some more GoPro mounts and stuff for Jamie's kayak. So you guys can see Jamie take people fishing. We had a charter for tomorrow. We had to cancel it due to weather. It's like a 70% chance of rain for thunderstorms for like 12 hours. So just not worth it. let's get a few last minute questions. We'll finish those up, and then we will turn off the live video. Appreciate you guys, supporting the business. All the orders, sometimes overwhelming, but fantastic. They go a long way. The Buy Me a Lure stuff for this or any purchase, it's in the description. It will be the live discount, the 10% off using discount code LIVE. That'll be good until October 5th, right? So tonight and tomorrow it'll work, and then it'll stop working. Anyone who places an order between now and morning of the 5th will automatically be entered to win these tow ropes. They'll come packaged like this. We'll go into more details on that later. I think once they go on the website, they do take quite a bit of time to make. Dan's getting better. That was one of Dan's projects, was to figure out how to do this efficiently. So we're making strides. Dan's also a huge part of the business. Can't give those dudes enough credit. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do this stuff. I would just be fishing every day. Takes a team effort, okay, for sure. But it takes a while to do this. But there's no noise. That's it. You can't hit it on anything. Can't damage your kayak. That's important. Probably it's on the website. Just haven't figured out a price yet. They're probably going to be close to $20, which to me, it seems really expensive. And I know we could take the easy route out, fold it over, put a metal clamp on here, tighten it down, heat shrink it, do some other things. I don't want that. I want it to be a quality product. One of the biggest things is if I wouldn't use it for me, I'm not going to put it on the website and sell you. I could put this on there right now, and it's a good idea, but it's half-baked. There's always stuff going on, like this crazy contraption. I can put that on the website. No one knows what it is. Super strong, though. The idea, there's just so many things going on at all times. But we try to make it economical, quality. It's hard to get every category, right? I do appreciate you guys watching, though. All of you guys. It makes a big difference. If you do have questions, you guys can always email me at nick@navarrekayakfishing.com. I do know that I get pretty far behind in those emails from time to time. If I don't get back to you, just send me another email. I'll do my best. Sometimes I miss them. Sometimes I read them. I get busy. I get a phone call while I'm reading it. I make mistakes. I'm human, okay? So if I don't get back to you, just email me again. You're not bothering me, and I apologize for missing your email. What do you have planned for the Lynx crappy handle inserts? I mean, there's so many things you could do, Stan. I actually made an anchor stick mount that uses where the handle is. That way you can put the pole right there next to you. You don't got to put it behind you or in front of you. That way it doesn't impede with casting or landing fish. We'll get all that stuff released eventually. There's self-fishing tuna offshore. So got to balance my time fishing, running the business, creating new stuff, hanging out with the family. And the family at the end of the day, although it may not always seem like it, they definitely come first, okay? Well, I try to make them come first as much as possible, but it's busy around here. My most memorable offshore catch, ask Skylar. I caught a turtle, and it ain't tiny. I caught a giant turtle, okay? Like huge. On a slow pitch jig. It ate a slow pitch jig. It was hooked in the mouth. Somehow Skylar failed to get a picture of it. Foam skills, camera skills, definitely in question. We were both like, that's a giant turtle. Thankfully, it broke the hook on the slow pitch jig and got away. But definitely my most memorable catch. Are y'all allowed to use LED lights for your running lights? Okay, everywhere is different. If your vessel is powered, then you need to have navigation lights, okay? I don't know all those details. There was a question earlier about, did I register the Lynx? I didn't register the Lynx for the Bixby. You're supposed to. It was a test. I think you have 30 days registered anyways in Florida, so I just bought it and I'm just testing it. All right. I didn't, but you should. In Florida, you need a light that you can signal 360 degrees. There's a ton of writing on it. If the boat or vessel is under 16 foot and human powered, it's kind of weird. I carry a Surefire that's 500 lumens, not because of the law, because I don't want to get ran over by an idiot or die. So take care of yourself. Laws are cool, but you should have a plan and be illuminated properly. I usually have a headlamp on and a Surefire that I can just blind somebody with. They'll get the point real quick that I don't want to be ran over. Just to echo everyone else, found your channel over a year ago. Most mods done kayak things. Hey, I appreciate Trevor. You guys, I really appreciate you guys. And look, we've made a lot of products from your guys' feedback, right? I get talk to a lot of people on the phone every week. Hey, I had a problem with this. Hey, this didn't work on my kayak or this or that. I'm going to do my best to resolve all the issues and make things better, okay? Needs a light like a headlamp. Yeah, Josh pretty much hit it on the nail. Any thoughts on a replacement paddle holder for the side of the kayak? The stock one, rubber band thing, sometimes a pain to get off. Hey, which kayak do you have? Now, on the Predator, I know it has that clip like the top water, but on the Predator, the left side also has that bungee. I keep my paddle underneath that bungee because I don't want my paddle on the side of the kayak. So you have the 120 PDL, which is a little bit different. I would try to find a way to get the paddle on top of the kayak. That also depends on where you fish. I don't mean bad things when I say this. Typically speaking, a 14-inch largemouth bass is not going to do anything crazy and cause you to lose it because of the paddle. Where we fish, if the paddle is on the side of the kayak and a big fish makes a run down the side of the kayak, gets wrapped on that paddle, and then goes out, you break it off. So I like to keep the paddle inside the kayak. So if you look at some of the Predators in the videos, you'll notice that paddle clip on the side of the kayak isn't even there. We don't even put it on there. We take those little screws that come with it, put the screws in, and then we keep the paddle on top of the kayak underneath the bungee. I would try to find a place to store it. You know, sometimes you just carry a stakeout pole, 2-liter paddle at home, and use the push pole to go places. I know guys who carry like sup paddles, like paddleboard paddles, because then they can still paddle both ways with it, but they can store it easier. I know guys who have extendable paddles, they keep in the front hatch, and that's the only paddle they bring in case of emergency. Tough things, man. It has to be the perfect solution for you. Trevor has the Railblazer light. That's some good information. It's nice to see you guys go back and forth and talk and find the best solutions for each other as well. I don't know the answer to everything. I've never fished in Texas. I've been to Texas a few times. I never fished it. Probably should one day. The measuring board. I made it a long, long time ago out of vinyl board and a 321 fish sticker. All right, Steve, thanks for watching. Dustin, you should listen to your brother. He's a professional kayak guide. I've been waiting to tell you that for a long time. You'll have an experience. The time that you fish enough and hook a good quality fish and it goes near that paddle and breaks you off, you'll never use that paddle holder again, ever. You'll be so pissed off, the paddle holder will go in the garbage. I bet it does drive. You know why it drives Jamie crazy? Because from the very get-go, I was like, you'll never use that again. Here's why. You just see things happen. It's not a good look. Well, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Links in the description, all the stuff that we talked about. If you have questions, let me know. Talk about the email stuff. If I haven't got back to you, I apologize. Email is the best place to get me. I'd reply to the YouTube comments, but it's really hard to like attach links and do stuff in the YouTube comments sometimes. So the email is nick@noirkayakfishing.com. They all come to my cell phone, which is up here for the live stream. I was looking for it. I appreciate you guys watching. If you have questions, let me know. Until then, I'll see you next time.